Call the meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone. Thank you for participating today. We'll start with introductions and start with voting members. Dave?
Voting member, State Committee.
Erica?
Goodman, voting member.
Scott?
And Scott Ryan, NYACD voting member.
Darren?
Darren Hickling, voting member.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Bethany.
Thank you, Dale. So we are going to go through the advisory member roll call. So I will run down the list of advisory members, and if there's anyone on the line from that agency, please just introduce yourself. Ag and Markets.
Good morning, Bethany. This is Jeff Keogh.
Morning. Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Good morning. Dan Welch is here for CCE.
Morning, Dan. Cornell Kales. CDEA.
Good morning. Happy official spring. This is Caitlin Stewart, President.
Good morning, Caitlin. DEC. Department of Health. Okay, I'll come back to Department of Health. Department of State. SUNY ESF.
Good morning. This is Steve Shaw.
Morning, Steve. NRCS. Okay, and coming back to the Department of Health.
Health. This Paul. Sorry, a little late getting on.
No worries. Thanks for joining. Okay.
Kate Black too from Department of State. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. No worries. Good morning. Well, thank you all to the advisory members. We'll move on to State Committee staff. I'm Bethany Bisdu, the Executive Director of the New York State Soil and Water Conservation Committee. Greg Albrecht.
Good morning, everybody. Greg Albrecht, State Committee staff, AIM Program Coordinator.
PJ Emmerich.
Hi, PJ Emmerich, Region 2, AEA Regional Coordinator for the Finger Lakes area.
Ryan Cunningham.
Good morning, Ryan Cunningham, State Committee Field Staff for the North Country.
Jennifer Clifford.
Good morning, Jennifer Clifford, CRF Program Manager.
Ben Luskin.
Good morning, Ben Luskin, Region 5, Regional AEA for the Hudson Valley and Long Island region, and State Aid to Districts Program Manager.
Ron Bush.
Good morning, Ron Bush, CNP Specialist with the State Committee.
Brendan Jordan.
Hi, good morning, Brendan Jordan, CNP Specialist with the State Committee.
Tim Clark.
Yep. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tim Clark. I'm the engineer with the State Committee.
Scott Bickbaum. Abigail Edwards.
Morning, everyone. Abigail Edwards, Policy Fellow with the State Committee.
Victor DiGiacomo. Lauren Przorski. Melissa Gordon.
Good morning, everyone. Melissa Gordon, Administrative Assistant.
Tyler Knapp.
Good morning, everybody. Tyler Knapp, Program Analyst with the State Committee.
And Brian Steinmuller. Good morning, Brian Steinmuller, Division of Land and Water Resources, Ag and Markets, assisting the Executive Director today. And I also just want to thank you, Brian, for that. And I want to say welcome to all the other soil and water conservation districts that are on the line, as well as members of the public. Feel free to put your name and affiliation into the chat function of the WebEx. Have I missed anybody from any other advisory members or staff? Okay, Dale, I believe we are all set with the introductions.
Great, thank you, Bethany. Thanks everybody for participating. I see by the numbers we got great participation today. Before we get into the meeting, I wanted to address an issue that is very important to me and others, and I'm sure most all of you. Everybody's well aware of Bethany being hired in as our new executive director. And Brian is kind of in the background a little bit, but we haven't lost Brian. And I wanted to, unless he just left the room on me. I wanted to thank Brian, and I know he's taken on a lot of new responsibilities with ag preservation and other things within ag and markets. But Brian is still here for us to help us. And I wanted to thank him personally. One, I couldn't have done this without Brian there to guide me and help me. And all these years we've worked closely together. And Brian, I'll never be able to tell you how much I thank you for everything you've done for me. And I really appreciate what you've done for soil and water. And I know you make soil and water a close part of your heart. I know that. And I wanted to thank you for all the help. And I know you're not disappearing on us. You're just kind of stepping a little bit back in the background and letting Bethany, which I think is a great thing to do, take over. So I'll turn it over to Bethany.
Thank you, Dale. I also want to echo everything that you just said and say thank you to Brian for all the work that you have done for the state committee to advance this committee and for the guidance and support that you have provided to districts and personally to myself. We are still very fortunate that we will have your support on the division and the department level to help advance this committee and the work that districts do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Bethany. So happy for you. Excited for the future of this committee and for conservation districts. And, it's been an absolute honor to work with such a wonderful organization. And what feels really good is that, I'll still be here in support of this committee, working with the agency and working with the Ag Protection Unit and all matters of environmental management here at the agency. So I'm still really, here when needed and to provide support when asked. But I really, truly appreciate all that you've been able to, provide to me, trust in support of the committee mission over, the last 10 plus years. And truly an honor of a lifetime. And so with that, I'll let you get on to regular business, but thank you so much, everyone. Really, really appreciate your support.
All right, we'll move on to review. We'll start our meeting going review and approve minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or changes, please? If not, a motion to approve?
And
a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
Ah.
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Correspondence. Bethany?
So we do not have any official correspondence to bring to the state committee today. However, for folks that are here in Albany, we have laid out a number of newsletters and periodicals that have been sent into our office from various soil and water conservation districts. I also wanted to mention that now is kind of the season where districts are putting together annual reports to highlight all the work that they've done or that they were able to accomplish in 2022. A lot of those come out in the digital format. So, if we are asked to forward them on behalf of the district, please take some time to look over those newsletters and see all the great things that are happening out there across the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Ag Non-Point Source, Bethany and Tyler.
So real quick, Tyler, before I hand it over to you, I just wanted to provide the committee with an updated timeline for where we are at with the release of round 29 of the Ag Non-Point Source program. So we're getting very, very close to being able to announce that program and open it up for applications. We are targeting to do so by the end of March. If we're able to meet that target, proposals would be due by the end of June. And then ultimately we would hope to be able to bring a ranked list to the state committee earlier in the fall, somewhere between September and October. So it is a little bit delayed past what we had, originally planned, but we do hope to kind of stick to the same kind of awards timeline that we had for round 28. Tyler, you want to go ahead with the program status?
Perfect. Thanks, Bethany. And good morning again, everyone. Let me just pull this up real quick. And off to the system. Perfect. So real quick, Ag Non-Point, kind of a dashboard for contracts and some dollar figures. So right now, it's still 8 active rounds, just 373 total contracts across those rounds, and those are valued at just over $121 million. We, as Bethany kind of just went over, we still have 36 pending contracts for round 28. And those are valued at just over $13 million. Let's see, total active contracts. So there's 159 active contracts, and those are valued at just over $57 million. And over the last month or so, there's been quite a few contracts that have been closed out. So we're up to 170 completed contracts, and those are almost $50 million. Any questions on those specifics? Thanks, Bethany.
Thank you, Tyler, for putting those together. We do have 3 amendments to present to the state committee for consideration today. I did sneak a 3rd one in yesterday, so I apologize for the last minute notice on that one. But what Abigail is presenting it on the screen, and I'll just kind of run through them. The first amendment or time extension request that we received is from Allegheny County Soil and Water for a round 25 contract. They are looking to extend the contract for 1 year to a new end date of February 20th, 2024. The reason for this extension is largely due in part to the COVID-19 pandemic and the financial uncertainties that followed the pandemic. One of the participating farms is nearly halfway through the implementation of their proposed waste storage and transfer system. They're looking to wrap up construction early spring and early summer of 2023. And there is a second participant, unfortunately, who will be dropping out of the project because their operation is no longer located in their county. So this extension is supported by Victor DiGiacomo, Region 1 AEA, but referred to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? Motion to approve, please.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you very much. Next.
Our next amendment was submitted by the Cortland County Soil and Water Conservation District for a Round 25 project. They are requesting a 2-year time extension or a new end date of February 20th, 2025. One of the participating landowners in this contract will be withdrawing from the project due to financial reasons. A second landowner in the project has had to go through the process of obtaining sole ownership of the farm property, which has resulted in delayed implementation of the proposed project. Design work for the proposed livestock heavy use area runoff management system is currently underway. This time extension is supported by PJ Emmerich, Region 2 AEA, but referred to the state committee.
Questions, comments, anyone? Jay, no problems, you think?
No, no, thank you, Dale. I don't have anything further to add.
Motion to approve, please. Second. Second. Moved and seconded. Go to voting. Erica?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Next.
All right, and this is our last time extension for the Ag Non-Point Source program. This was submitted by Onondaga County Soil and Water for a Round 25 project. They are looking to extend the contract to the end of this year, so the new end date would be December 31st of 2023. The final location and design of the proposed project has been delayed. Currently, a design has been completed. The participating landowner would like to put the project out to bid in 2023 for implementation this year. So in light of all that, they're requesting a time extension to allow for implementation to happen this year and to get the contract closed out. This extension is supported by PJ Emmerich, Region 2 AEA, but referred to the state committee.
PJ hasn't yet put the project out to bid. Any issues there, you think?
I don't believe so, Dale. I think that they're looking to get this thing out and then get it implemented here this year. So I don't foresee any issues or problems with that one either.
Any other questions or comments, anyone? Motion to approve, please.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll go to voting. Erica? Erica?
Aye.
No.
Okay, great.
Ooh,
Scott?
Oh, there he is.
Aye.
Oh, great. Dave?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you very much.
That concludes the Ag Non-Point Source program report, unless there are any other questions from the group.
If no questions, then we'll go to the CRF. Jennifer and Tyler.
Thanks, Dale. I'll just start with a quick update on round 7 timeline. So we are trying to mirror Ag Non-Point Source and announce both programs together and then stagger due dates like we have the past couple of rounds. So for CRF, we're looking at a new due date of somewhere in the beginning of August and a ranked list to the committee in October. So that's the tentative new timelines, and we are getting really close to having those final approvals and working with the press office on getting an announcement together. So hopefully that will be coming out soon. So that's an update on round 7. We did also have a presentation at the Water Quality Symposium, which Abigail and Scott did a wonderful job covering. And so we were able to talk about agroforestry and silvopasture practices that we support through CRF that districts can work with farms on. And they had a whole full day program around that topic, and we just provided some small support for that great class that just offered what kind of resources we have through CRF to support those practices. So hopefully we see more projects coming in for agroforestry and silvopasture type of systems through CRF in round 7. So that was some outreach and education that we were able to participate in. And so that is round 7 updates. For round 6, we are getting through all of the plan of works, have mostly all been approved, and we're working through with fiscal on getting contracts for those projects now. So all that's moving forward, so that's good. And I think we don't have any amendments today. That's on the agenda, but we didn't have any to consider today. So I think that's all I have as far as updates, unless there are any questions, and then I will allow Tyler to give us some look into the numbers.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. I will pull up the dashboard. Okay, similar to Ag Non-Point Source, 5 active rounds valued at just over $18.2 million. 141 total contracts across those rounds. As Jennifer just said, 36 pending contracts for round 6, and those are roughly $8.4 million. Active contracts, we have 60 active contracts, and those are almost $6.3 million. And similar to Ag Non-Point Source, over the last month or so, we've had a couple closeouts come in. So we are up to 33 completed contracts, and those are valued at just over $2.5 million. Any data questions from anyone? Okay, thanks everyone.
Any other questions for Jennifer? Jennifer?
Yeah, if there are no other questions on CRF, if you wouldn't mind, Dale, I can give a quick update on our federal grant.
Oh, yeah.
So we have been awarded a Climate Smart Commodities grant. We are working closely with DEC's Division of Lands and Forests on this. Our other partners, we have talked about this a little bit before, but I'll just give kind of a brief update of where we are. So our other partners involved are ESF, Cornell, Syracuse University, and of course DEC, and then Ag and Markets. So we've been awarded $60 million altogether with all the partners, and Ag and Markets portion. We are going to be adding some cost share assistance to the round 8 of CRF and potentially rounds 9. That will help us support track 1 and track 3 projects where it'll support alternative manure management systems, as well as soil health systems. And then we also have in that grant some proposed support for farms' use of adaptive management tools and some possibly data collection for our cover and flare systems that we've previously supported and installed. That will help us in really doing the measurement, monitoring, verification, reporting piece of not only the grant, but also in, are we able to get real numbers behind the practices that we're implementing as far as greenhouse gas reductions and carbon sequestration to meet those scoping plan goals that the Climate Action Council has set for the state. So we are close to, we're in a plan of work phase with USDA. We've had some revisions we've had to provide and some clarification. So we're working with them on that. And we'll hopefully be getting a contract by really next month or so is what our, tentative timeframe is for that. So that means once we've gotten a contract, we will be able to start working on how we're going to implement some of that through some pilot programs, as well as infuse some extra funding into additional rounds. So once round 7 opens up, we're going to get right on top of planning for round 8 and start drafting the RFP for round 8, which will utilize some of those USDA funds. So it'll look a little different. So we'll have to have some time to plan that out. And that's kind of a brief update on where we are with that. And we'll try and bring updates every state committee meeting, I guess, from here on out. Because now once we get our contract, we'll hit the ground running with planning and implementing. And then a big part of that, sorry, I'll just add one more thing. A big part of that is working with underserved partners. So you will be working with, branching out, working with some new partners and working with CCE on reaching out to new partners. So that'll be, we'll be looking for some feedback and discussion on those points at these meetings as well.
Good. Does anyone know, do we have any districts or ESF going to do pilot projects on reforestation or afforestation that might be looking for funding through the CRF?
So part of the funding will go to Right New York, which is a DEC forestry program, but we are able to support some of those practices through CRF, through soil health track and agroforestry and silvopasture systems. Mm-hmm. and buffer systems is mostly where we have the ability to support tree planting.
I mean, the issue is that if we're going to meet the 2030 and 2050 goals, we got to plant a lot of trees as part of it, part of that whole project. And I'd like to see pilots started that we could figure out how the best way to do it. Yeah, across
Dale,
the
this is
state,
Scott,
different
and,
areas. So hopefully districts are thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Dale, this is Scott in Syracuse. I'll just let you know, though I haven't seen it yet, the Upper Susquehanna Coalition is working on a pilot proposal for an afforestation effort. I don't know the budget yet, but I know they're looking at the 1.25 million that's available for pilots and planning through round 7. Hopefully, Lydia will be available to present to the committee at a committee meeting, not only the CREP incentive program that they just concluded last month with all the interesting deliverables there, but also be able to lay out, I think, maybe some of her proposal that's going to be coming in maybe in the next couple of weeks. So I think we've all been working with districts to try to talk up this end of things. I think you're 100% right. There's just a lot of trees that need to be planted, and we ought to be able to hit the ground running, provided some proposals from districts. So at least USC is going to be leading the way, and if that's a successful effort, maybe like the buffer work that they've done, we can branch it out to other watershed coalitions.
Excellent, thank you.
You know, and just also, right, the training that was held on Wednesday that Jennifer mentioned, that had a heavy emphasis on the forestry aspects of the scoping plan. Am I correct on that one, Abigail, Scott? Right, so there was members from the Division of Lands and Forests present, and that's really critical as well. Not that we, haven't done a lot of work through our existing programs, but to continue to foster those partnerships with that aspect of DEC, like we have with the Division of Water over the years, continues to be important. And their partnership in this effort will be critical as well. But it's exciting to see what we're able to do now and what we could be doing in the future.
Exactly. Yeah, I just I don't want to sit back and be. Unfortunately, I'm not very patient on this issue. I'd like to see work progressing on it.
Absolutely, so, lots to do.
Jennifer.
That's all I had, unless there are any other questions. Thank you.
Our agenda, state aid. Ben.
Thanks, Dale. Good morning, everyone. Brief update on state aid this morning. I know I touched on it a little bit last month. I'll kind of give a quick overview of what happened then and since then, along with some overall numbers when it comes to state aid to districts. So for fiscal year 2023, which will be wrapping up at the end of this month, we had $14.5 million available in the EPF for state aid to districts. That's right over parts A, B, and C. That was a $3.5 million increase over the previous fiscal year, which was a good increase for districts across the board. All districts had their reports submitted in on time by February 15th. And thanks go out to all the districts for getting those in on time, and also to the regional AEAs for helping me chase some of those reports down just to make sure that we had them all in. I processed all the Part A reports, and all those payments were made around March 2nd, so the district should have that $60,000 in their account. All the districts, except for 3, did earn the full Part A amount. Those funds that were not earned by those 3 districts aren't lost. They flow down to Part C and then are redistributed, across all the districts. So we're making sure that money does stay with the districts and it's not lost anywhere else. Since our last meeting, I've made it through all the performance measures reports. And just as a reminder, this is the last year of the COVID revised performance measures, so only performance measures 2, 3, and 4 counted towards the total amount earned by each district. 1 and 5 did not count these past few years. So there's $10.4 million that was going to Part C in performance measures. The reports were all processed. I did have to follow up with 14 districts based on the information they submitted. It wasn't real clear what had happened or what was going on, so I followed up with them. I believe all of those follow-ups were all with Performance Measure 3, which was leveraging funds in fostering partnerships. But based on the information that they submitted back to me, they provided the necessary clarifying information, and they all qualified for that amount of funding. So for this year, 57 districts qualified for the full amount, which was $181,746.76. And for the first time, we had New York City participate with Part C in performance measured, and they earned 50% of that amount. So I want to say congrats to Shino and her staff in New York City for accomplishing that feat. I know it took a lot of effort on Shino's part to make sure that they were able to qualify for performance measures for the first time, and I know she's planning on continuing into the future, even if it's at that 50% level, but that's much better than nothing. So that was good to see. So in total, if a district maxed out parts A, B, and C for this year, it was a $59,000 increase over last year. So essentially, you know, round figures there, but if you took that increase of $3.5 million, divided it over 57.5 districts, counting New York City, that's around that $59,000 mark. So that's again a great increase. It was the third time that Part C has been over $100,000, and hopefully that continues into the years to come, and we may even eclipse that $200,000 mark next year if the governor's proposed budget goes through. So currently, in good news, I looked up this morning in our payment system. Districts can reach out to me if they're not seeing this, but it looks like all the districts received their Part C money yesterday. Those payments all went out, and they should all have that money in their bank account. So I did reach out to our fiscal people on our end just to clarify that. I have not heard back yet, but everything I can tell in our system shows that the payments were all made. So that's great that they were able to move pretty quickly on that, because they've on our end they've only had the paperwork for I think about a week or so. So it moved through pretty quick. Beyond that, I will still be continuing to work on the remaining reports over the next couple months, and I hope either in April or May to have a more detailed state aid report with all of this information plus more, and also getting into our hourly rates report, kind of staffing as a whole, what we're seeing across the state with district staffing, salaries, and that sort of thing. So beyond that, if anybody has any questions, that's all I have, Dale.
Ben, just really quick, is there still a plan to have a statewide state aid summit this year in 2023?
Yeah. Yep. Whether it's a summit or we break it, we still have to have those discussions, whether it's like one summit or we may break it down into smaller meetings, especially since everybody has more capabilities these days to jump on a WebEx call. But yes, we are planning on having those this year. I think I need to get through a little bit more of the reporting first, and we need to do some kind of brainstorming, because those discussions will still be mostly, I will say, centered around performance measures. But I think we're going to have discussions on many of the different reports. Maybe not all 7 that we have, but various reports will be discussed on those meetings. So I would say stay tuned for announcements of those meetings to be had in the upcoming months.
We don't want to overstuff this room with 150 district employees like we did a few years back.
I've seen that room stuff for a state aid meeting before, and I don't know if we want to do that again.
It wasn't 150, but it was standing room only. Yeah. Well, on behalf of the agency, I just want to thank all those who make it possible to process these payments in such quick order. Right there against the end of the fiscal year, and we've got it down to an absolute perfect mechanics, from districts to Ben's reviews to everyone in fiscal. It's really a testament to how things should be, right, with our interaction with districts through the state aid program. So hats off to all who make it possible.
Thank you, everyone. Next on our list is the strategic plan. Bethany.
Thank you. Okay, we're just doing it. No worries. All right. So I wanted to take just a few minutes of the agenda to reintroduce the topic of strategic plan and strategic planning. Because here, you can go to the next. Yeah. So State Committee has a strategic plan that is essentially a document that guides the actions of our State Committee and maps out where we want to go, how we want to get there, all while being mindful of our core mission. This document establishes a mission statement for the State Committee. It also identifies our values and our visions for the future and defines our broad strategic goals, as well as a number of different objectives to help us meet each of those goals. The current plan that the State Committee is operating under is the 2019-2023 plan. This is available on our department's website, and it is now available on SharePoint. We can have it up there if any districts on the line want to access it there, or certainly you can access it on the website to refamiliarize yourself with, I guess, what is in there. But this plan needs to be updated every 5 years to ensure that the State Committee continues to be able to support its mission, as well as soil and water districts, as the needs of the districts change and as natural resource issues evolve. So we are approaching the end of our current 5-year plan and need to start thinking about developing our plan for the next 5 years. So I've put together a rough sketch of a timeline that I'd like to try to stick through as we go throughout the year. Next slide, please. To try and keep us on track. So we will have an approved strategic plan for 2024 to 2029 at the beginning of 2024. So I would like to start out the process of updating the plan by issuing a survey to districts. And this is something that was done when we were updating the last strategic plan. And it was a really helpful tool to get valuable feedback from districts on a number of different items. So at some point in April, I would like to issue a survey to districts, which would follow probably the very similar format to what we had issued before, to gather feedback on a very broad scale. In June, we would like to hold regional meetings with districts to get direct input from the districts throughout the 5 regions of the state, and to have more of an in-depth conversation, one-on-one with the districts in each region on the elements of the strategic plan and any goals and objectives that we might want to edit or include in the plan. As we enter into the fall, we would hold advisory member meetings to also discuss where we are with the plan and the objectives that have been written in there. And then in November, I would like to bring a draft version of the strategic plan to the State Committee for discussion. And then, if as a result of that discussion, if we have any, final critiques or finessing that needs to be done, I would bring the strategic plan back to the State Committee in December for approval. And of course, as the year progresses, we will provide updates to the State Committee at our monthly meetings to report back on where we are with each of these steps of the plan, and share, results of the surveys that we have, of our survey to districts, or any outcomes that may have resulted from our regional meetings with the districts. But I wanted to present this plan for, I guess, reaction and to get folks thinking about our strategic plan and keep that in the front of our minds as we go throughout 2023.
Questions, anyone? Excellent. Thank you. Keep us posted. And hopefully we can accomplish great things getting it done this year.
Agreed. Get on the website and crack open the plan. It's actually pretty awesome. I've been reading through it lately more than, to be honest, more than what I had before. And it's, really incredible, the stuff that was written in that plan that we've been able to achieve within the last 5 years. So I hope to continue that into the next 5 years.
Thank you. Going through our agenda pretty quick today. We'll move on to voting and advisory reports. Start with voting members. Erica?
Thanks, Dale.
Darren?
I don't believe I have anything.
Scott?
I don't think I have anything either.
Quiet day. Dave, anything?
I don't have anything either.
That's quiet. Add me to it. I don't have anything either. Okay, Bethany, over to you.
Thanks, Dale. So we'll go through advisory member reports first. Ag and markets. Anything to report today?
To follow the pattern, I do not have anything to update. Thank you.
Brian, is there anything you would like to report here?
There's so much, but I'm sure we'll talk about the symposium when you get to you, right?
Yes.
And Jeff, just to mention really quickly, we can provide a more detailed, synopsis of things later on. But Division of Land and Water Resources has taken on the responsibilities to provide staff support to the Wood Products Development Council. And back to the theme of the questions, Dale, you asked earlier about reforestation, afforestation, forest management. This is also something that kind of fits squarely into those types of natural resource needs and issues. So I've been working with Jeff on processing. I should say Jeff is working on processing reports from current projects that the Wood Products Development Council and supporting organizations have worked on. And we're also working on appointments for that council. And we'll see that council become active again in the very near future. So Jeff has just been doing tremendous work in that area. Of course, with the background he has, I think it comes easy, naturally, and of great interest to Jeff. But allow us to provide some updates to this group, as we progress forward. So looking forward to that opportunity and challenge.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I will be able to dial in some of the findings, hopefully next time around. So thanks.
Thank you.
Great. How about Cornell Cooperative Extension?
I don't have anything to report today.
Caitlin, CDEA, do you have anything to report today?
I do. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to everyone at the State Committee who has assisted with facilitating and instructing classes for our Water Quality Symposium. A week ago today kicked off the 4-day training event, and we were able to offer 34 classes this year in tracks including ag, non-ag, education, clerk, admin, and forestry. Some preliminary feedback that we have received is that our attendees had a very difficult time selecting the courses that they wanted to attend because there were so many incredible offerings. This year, we also had record attendance of 330 attendees. And again, I just want to extend my sincere gratitude to the state committee for stepping up time and time again to help facilitate and instruct these classes that are so valuable to conservation districts and partners. I also congratulate Bethany on her new position with the state committee, and I am very relieved to hear that Brian won't be going too far. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Caitlin. I see that Dustin has joined as well as the president, that you kind of stepping out of that role. I do want to say thank you for the past 2 years for your participation on the TAC and at the state committee. Your input has been invaluable, and I'm glad you're able to join today.
Thank you, Bethany. Yeah, I wanted to say thanks for all your support and help over the last couple of years. Look forward to seeing you in the future in your new position. And I'm definitely, like Brian, I'm not disappearing. I'll probably be I'll be attending meetings as a Saratoga County representative now more than a CDEA representative, but I'm still here, and you're not going to get rid of me that easily. So you're in great hands with Caitlin. So look forward to participating in the events later. I wanted to also mention that we are planning to have the admin conference again this year in the fall, and throw that out as an opportunity to you folks and to Ben if there's some opportunity to maybe have a discussion about performance measures during that conference. Might be a good location to have that discussion.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Department of Health, Paul, do you have anything to report today?
I don't have anything to report, but I have something to say, and that is thank you, Brian. You've been great to work with all these years, and I'm sure we'll still see each other around. And congratulations, Bethany.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
How about Department of State?
I don't really have much to report. We just have a couple 9 elements for on Oneida and Skinny Atlas. I know the Swan Waters are involved, but keep an eye for public meetings if people are interested. And the Canandaigua 9 element should be having their 3rd public meeting soon.
Great, thank you.
Kate, would the next round of waterfront go out through the CFA again, and is that something that's being worked on currently?
Yeah, but
Same
it's
timeline?
in development. It's happening. It looks like we'll probably get the same amount of money as last year, or right around there. We are looking at trying to include more information on resiliency in the scoring, and potentially some emphasis on watershed plan implementation. But that's TBD if it will get approved by management.
Excellent. Thank you.
How about SUNY ESF?
Hi, Steve Shaw here. Nope, I don't have any updates this time. Thanks.
Thank you. I don't believe anyone from DEC joined in the meantime. Just put the feeler out there if there's any DEC report. And I believe our NRCS partners are actually down at legislative days in DC, so that's why they aren't able to join today. Let's see. We'll move on to state committee staff. Greg Albrecht, do you have anything to report today?
Well, just congrats to Bethany and Brian, and to the CDEA. Hats off for a really awesome water quality symposium. Takes a lot of work in addition to your day jobs. And nothing else to report.
How about PJ?
Thank you, and congratulations again, Bethany and Brian. Nothing in addition to report other than sort of board meetings and trainings, but I did just want to give a quick update on the Finger Lakes Round 2 contract. Work to get that contract has been progressing in the background, and right now the MOUs were sent out to all the partnership districts. Yates County Soil and Water is going to be the administrating district for that project. And we just sent out yesterday all of the MOUs for the districts to sign, so that's going to go on in the background while we're waiting for the fully executed contract from Albany. And then in addition, we're going to put together an interim report this week and get that sent in before the 31st. So won't be too much of an interim report. We'll just kind of touch on those two subjects, but I just wanted to update the committee that work is ongoing in the background, and we're looking forward to a successful project with that, and hopefully more in the future.
PJ, if you don't have it right in front of you, apologies to put you on the spot, but what's the target acres of cover crops for that particular project?
We have $351,500. I don't have the acreages in front of me. The rates are set, so there's two different rates that's actually written into the scope of work, but it'll work out to about, with the 11 districts, maybe 400 to 500 acres, give or take.
That's good. Thank you.
Thanks, PJ. Ryan.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. One thing I'll mention, I guess, of note is that the symposium, PJ and I hosted a municipal assistance subcommittee meeting, which is sort of non-traditional for training at the symposium, but we didn't have one for the past couple of years, mainly dormant during COVID. But we were able to get several DEC partners to come speak at it to kind of bring us up to speed on partner collaboration and some of the efforts that districts, municipalities, and agencies are doing together. So we had Julie Berlinski from who's now doing the WQIP program speak on a lot of the grants that she covers. We had Corbin Gosier, who's an aquatic habitat DEC staff out of Eastern New York. He kind of covered the NAC and how the North Atlantic Aquatic Connectivity Program and how that's going to be transitioning into more of a NAC New York focus, some of the future funding, how districts can kind of collaborate with that. And it seems like every 3 to 5 years or so, there needs to be another push for programs like that because we have new staff around the state, new initiatives, priorities. And then we had Julie Melanson, who's local Region 7 DEC here, talk about solar and stormwater and the impacts in agriculture and some of that. So stirred a lot of good conversation. I think with some of the Bond Act money that we're sort of assuming where it's going to be headed in the future, we have a lot of partner agencies that have some of that money coming to them as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where some of that funding goes, where the programs head, and how districts can be involved. So I thought it was pretty successful, and we hope to kind of take some of those speaker presentations and move into like longer discussions with municipal subcommittee meetings into the future. Hopefully another one later this year. So thanks.
Great. Yeah, definitely keep us updated on the next subcommittee meeting for sure. Jennifer, anything additional to report today?
Nothing else. Thank you, Bethany.
How about Ben? Any additional report for the state committee today? Did he see something?
No, regionally it's been kind of quiet, like the other said, with symposium stuff, a lot of meetings coming up, a lot of district law trainings. I would just say if you know you need training or need district law training, make sure you're reaching out to your regional rep. Districts are usually pretty good at that. I am going to sort through the files of the performance measures this year and just make sure that we are on top of who needs that district law training. Just again, because it has not counted towards any funding the last few years. It's slipped, I think, in some areas. So I just want to make sure everybody's on top of that. So I'm going to sort through that, get it out to the regional guys so that we can be a little bit proactive about getting that training done sooner this year than later. But other than that, that's it.
Great, thank you. Ron, do you have anything to report today?
Sure, just a few quick updates here. So in the past, it was the end of last year, you folks approved the short-term waste collection and transfer system. As part of that approval, we had organized a training that was recently offered at Water Quality Symposium, and we introduced that system and provided some training and introduction and training and use of that system to nearly 60 soil and water folks and NRCS folks and a couple private planners. So that was exciting to launch that, and that was also included with updated New York State Ag B&P catalog release in lieu of the upcoming offerings from Ag Non-Point Source and CRF. We worked with a bunch of partners to do some other trainings. I won't get into those at Water Quality Symposium, but I will say we've got 2 short weeks, including this one, to do our final preps for the CNMP training being held the first week of April. And that list is bumping up to about 30 registrants. So we're really excited about that upcoming training. So it's going to be kind of a scramble here, as always, the last week or two to organize all the fine details for the in-depth training.
Is that...
Thanks, Bethany.
One quick question. How does that level of participation compare to the CNMP training that you offered? Was it last year? Is it more?
Yeah, so we're offering it 2 years in a row just to kind of catch up for difficulties during COVID and just to keep supporting planners as they join the district or work in the private planning firm to gain some traction, gain some knowledge, gain some direction on where their career is going. And then, we're going to meet them again where they're at in person this year. The numbers are slightly up. We do have a couple folks who are taking it for their second time, which is great. That's usually a signal that they are going to take the next step into plan reviews and pursue those certifications. So this group, the folks that we're looking at, we're really excited that they're kind of in that bracket of doing active plan review and pursuing certification. So
That's great. Thank you. How about Brendan? Do you have anything to add?
I'll just echo real quick the congratulations to the CDEA staff on the Water Quality Symposium. I got a chance to be a part of several classes, and they were all well attended, ran smooth. The one I personally took the lead on, the room, everything was just awesome. And like Ron said, we're now looking forward to our CNMP training and excited about that. So I'll keep it brief there.
Thank you. Tim?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention doing a refresh of my online courses for entry-level district technicians and changing platforms on that too. We're going to host them all on the YouTube page that the department maintains. And I'll post a link to that in the chat. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Scott, do you have anything to report today?
Yeah, I'll also circle back to the symposium and add my congratulations, Bethany, along to everybody else's in your new appointment. So hats off to you. But also congratulate this guy, PJ, for winning the Partner of the Year award from the Employees Association.
Thank you, Scott.
So that's all good news. I would reflect a little bit more on the CRF and forestry class that Jennifer mentioned. There really was a big turnout of district foresters as well as partnering entity staff. I think Brian mentioned maybe, or Jennifer did, presence of DEC, Division of Land and Forest, Molly Hassett and Jason Drobnak. It was nice for them to make some personal connections. And I think the folks from the Nature Conservancy said their entire staff was at that training. So really good opportunity to put faces with names and start the business of developing relationships. One of the things that was discussed at the meeting, I think it was a common theme throughout a lot of the presentations that were given, was these markets that are developing. I think there are like 7 or 8 of them. Some of them might be specific to programs, different entities, I'm not clear on all the districts, I mean, on all the details, but it did reveal to me, and I've been fielding questions from the managers in my region since then, about trying to get more information about this to see how districts fit into that sort of process, what their role might be, and what opportunities may be out there for districts to facilitate, you know, even like Brian had alluded to, maybe working with Division of Land and Forest as we do, or they do, with Division of Water, and try to do that direct contracting. But also, I think it ties in a little bit more to the presence of payment for ecosystem services and the presence of brokers and private sector companies that are out in the environment these days, and entities that facilitate this to essentially reimburse the farmer for doing this or that on the farm, such that they can claim credit and blah, 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 and their business plan and all that. Districts also are not really that aware of this developing world of reimbursement to farmers for implementing agricultural conservation practices, and so don't really understand what's their role, if any, and what opportunities are available to them. So, you know, in all the meetings coming up, maybe I don't know, the regional district managers meetings and others that we've been talking about, some time could be carved out for us, Ag Markets, or whomever knows the most about this sort of topic, of what companies are out there looking to contribute in this way, essentially investors, if I understand it correctly, and see if we can connect some dots with the districts who are actually implementing the projects. And I know that there's an appetite. I've heard it a couple of times, and it seems, you know, from snippets here and there, conversation, you get the sense that it's going to become more and more of, I don't know, the way we do business in the future. So maybe tying the districts in, at least making them aware as we are of what the current situation is and what the trajectory is going forward. So I'd offer that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Abigail?
Yeah, just echoing everyone's comments and congratulations. There's a lot to celebrate and be proud of. But just really quick update, our Soil and Water Conservation Committee and AIM 2022 annual report is in development. We typically get a later start because we really rely on district annual reports and our state aid reports. So we currently just passed off a draft to the front office for a first review and are slowly receiving their feedback, and we'll implement that feedback and hopefully be able to work our way through that process as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Melissa, anything to add?
No, I have nothing. Thank you.
And Tyler.
Thanks, Bethany. Real quick, I just want to put a plug in that I'm likely going to be trying to reinvigorate the district storyboard on SWCC's website. So I might be reaching out to districts, for the districts that are online, maybe for some updated contact information, and potentially let's highlight some new projects and show the good work that districts are doing. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks and months, that'll be a new priority. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Tyler. You know, that storyboard is just a really great tool to highlight, you know, in one good place, a map, you know, on the screen, all of the different projects that happen all over across the state, because there is such a variety. And I think that's an awesome thing and a great project to continue to work on. I will give just a brief report to kind of continue on the conversation of the Water Quality Symposium. Thank you to the CDEA for putting on such a great event. You know, I regret that I was not able to attend the full event this year, but was able to make it out for Thursday and Friday. and attended the annual banquet where, yes, I do want to recognize PJ Emmerich, who was awarded the Partnership Award, which is awarded to a non-district employee for their outstanding partnership in working with districts. I think that's an awesome award and very well deserved. Another little, I guess, tidbit that came out of well, I think it came out on Wednesday, but was announced on Thursday at the annual banquet that there are 54 new Soil and Water Conservation District employees that have come on with Soil and Water Districts, and I think that is great. And when they announced that at the Thursday banquet, it just erupted in cheers, and I thought that was really an awesome moment for districts and for those new employees. But I do also want to thank Commissioner Ball for also attending the annual banquet and saying a few words on behalf of the department and recognizing the great work that the districts do year in and year out.
It was phenomenal. That was such a moment.
It was very exciting. I mean, cheers and everything.
He asked all the new employees, to stand up, and it was like a wave.
Yeah.
It was really wonderful to see. He had a hard time getting the crowd back, to finish up his address after that. It was a really great moment.
Okay. So I believe that wraps up all the state committee staff reports. Are there any conservation districts on the line that would like to report out on anything? Hearing none, we will move to any members of the public that may be on the line. Is there anything for the state committee today? Okay, Dale, I think we can move on to the next agenda item.
Thank you, Bethany. Thank you, everyone, for all the great reports. Next meeting is proposed for April 26th. It's later than normal, but conflicting schedules, we had to go that later. We also want to do an in-person meeting. Now, we're researching options of possible Utica. If Utica doesn't work, I am willing to go to Albany. And maybe we can carpool a bunch of us to go down. But how does everybody think April 26th would work for your schedules of voting members?
I do want to note that is a Wednesday as well, not our typical Tuesday.
Yeah, sorry.
I unfortunately could not make the 26th down.
Aaron, what do you think?
I think it's fine with me.
Eric?
That time of year is up in the air for me, Dale. I really have no idea. We start to get pretty busy then, so it's possible, but I can't promise anything. If it's if it was in Utica, it's a little bit more possible, but
okay.
Who knows?
Well, that's what the goal is, to try to shoot for Utica. And it just depends on the facility, I guess. Erica, what do you think?
I could not make the 26th, unfortunately.
Okay. Dave, we were wondering if we could arrange to have someone pick you up and run you down and back again. Think you could make it then?
Yep. Dale, we'll bring him down to Utica. If it's Albany, it's more whether Dave's knees can handle it. But no problem with Utica. I got that day open. We can do it.
Okay. We are going to try to shoot for Utica, and I think it'll hinge on facility and things like that. Would be good. Yeah, good. We need to do an in-person twice a year if we can, not just electronic. And we do a fall one where we do a tour with everything, and that can be the one in person, and then April one in person. And if we can do that, that would be great. Anything else anyone wants to bring up?
I would like to, Dale. I couldn't find the unmute button. That's why I didn't speak up earlier.
Okay.
I just wanted to say hi. I couldn't believe all the new staff people that the state committee has now. Boy, it's really expanded since I left. So that's great news.
It's great to see you, George. Great to hear from you. And yeah, it is shocking to me from what it was when the early years, the staff we have now are and fantastic group of young people.
And especially the funding as well. You know, when we started, it was 15,000 per district, and then it went up to the 30,000 in the district law, and then we got the district law changed. I remember meeting with Senator Dean Skelos, and he said, well, what are you looking for? I said, well, maybe 100,000 per district times 68, so six and a half million. And he put it in the budget that year. It was Assembly that didn't do it that first year, but eventually we did get it up. And it's grown ever since, so that's great, especially when DEC didn't object to the state committee getting 50% of the ag non-point money. They used to get it all, remember, and share it with the state committee, and then eventually said, why do we have to always go with our head in our hand and begging them for the money? And so the governor's office agreed and created a separate category just to go to the state committee, and it's just grown. I'm sure that, Dale, you're going to give me credit for having such short meetings since I'm not running them anymore and I don't ask any questions. So, but I did talk to Brian about an issue, and I'm hoping we can put it on agenda in the future on PFO and PFAS. So he asked me to withhold that. So if you can put it on in a future time. But I'm talking to a lot of people, especially at CALS, and I was hoping that CALS gets together with Syracuse University and looks at some of the issues. I'm sorry that I didn't know about the soil conference in December. Sounded that would have been a very interesting place to bring up some of these issues. But I got really interested last week because in Maine there was an incident where thousands of gallons of milk had to be destroyed, and another incident earlier in New Mexico where 3,600 dairy cows had to be euthanized. So it's starting to pick up as people do more testing. And unfortunately, EPA now with this new proposed 4 parts per trillion level is incredible that we're talking about something never in history has anything been at a part per trillion level from EPA. So that's going to be a hard standard for us to deal with. And I don't think EPA has thought this all out in terms of the implications. So that's just something I hope that you can put onto a future agenda so we can spend some time discussing.
I do know that the co-ops are very involved in it, the dairy co-ops, and same way, very worried about the log range, and that the upstairs second floor is working diligently on it. But we, in our capacity, aren't, but I'm more than willing to get you the information that we can find out as it comes forward so that you're up to date on it, that you're not going to probably get elsewhere.
Yeah, and I think CALS needs to do some updating. I think that they're not publishing anything because they're not finished with some studies they're doing. So unless it's a published paper, you don't see it on their website. So it's hard to tell who's working on what there.
Research takes time.
Yep.
But it is
seeing
great.
all of you.
Yeah, it's great to see you, George.
I can't emphasize how great it is to see what we were doing in New York until you come to a state like Tennessee where they're doing virtually nothing. They have no staff. The 2 counties I work with on the lake I live on Cherokee Lake, one of the large TVA lakes, all they have is a secretary in the soil and water office and one NRCS person that spends 2 days in one county and 3 days in another. I have pictures of cows defecating in the water because there are no riparian buffers. And when I went to one of the water district meetings complaining about that and saying that, there's 70% reimbursement, if the farmers apply for riparian buffers, and one of the old timers that's been there like longer than most of us are alive said, well, I don't know about you New Yorkers there, but our farmers down here, they don't have the money to even come up with their 30% cost share. And so that's why they weren't applying for it. So it's a different world down here. So you don't appreciate it until you see exactly how much New York has accomplished, especially with the AIM program. My last presentation was in California on that program particularly, and most of the other states that was at the NACD annual conference were just amazed at how much we accomplished in New York. So hats off to everybody for a good job.
Thank you, George. That means a lot. That's an incredible perspective that you bring to us today, you know, on how far we've come as a committee and district partnership with other agencies. And, you know, in comparison to what other states are doing, there's no one like New York in our conservation committee and conservation district workforce. It is really incredible.
Definitely.
It's so good to see you on the screen as well. You look great. Fantastic.
It's living on the lake, you know, with the mountains behind it, you know. Even though the lake water isn't tested, I you know, just have to filter my water and not worry about it.
There you go. Well, you know how to do that, so it's good to see you.
Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for participating today. A very great meeting. Have a great day and a great week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
Here.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.